Welcome to another TSE single slider. Let's talk about building a robust checkout fulfillment process that ensures the best possible experience for customers. The goal here is to process fulfillment before the customer sees the success page Stripe checkout redirects to. That way, the success page can reflect the purchase the customer just made. For example, if a customer purchases access to a digital asset or subscribes to a service, the integration success page should show the customer paid and give them immediate access to their purchase. We'll start on Stripe, where a checkout session is completed successfully. When this happens, a checkout session completed event is generated. On the integration side, we're going to first look at the primary approach to fulfillment, which uses webhooks. With this approach, fulfillment is triggered when the checkout session completed event is delivered to the integration's webhook endpoint, which has been set up to listen for that event. Note that checkout will wait up to 10 seconds for checkout session completed webhooks to succeed before redirecting to the checkout session's success URL. This gives the integration time to process fulfillment and successfully acknowledge the event delivery. Also note that failed webhooks will be retried several times beyond this 10-second window to ensure fulfillment happens. These retries will continue for several days if necessary until the event is delivered successfully, which means even extended downtime or connectivity issues won't result in missed events. Once the integration successfully acknowledges delivery of the checkout session completed event, or when 10 seconds passes, Stripe redirects the customer to the checkout session's success URL. The integration receives the request for the success page and renders it for the customer. The success page reflects the purchase because fulfillment happened before the redirect, thanks to checkout's delay of up to 10 seconds. This approach is recommended and often required for many checkout integrations that want to perform automatic fulfillment of purchases. Okay, that's great, but what happens if something goes wrong with the webhook? Unfortunately, the internet is not 100% reliable. And while event delivery succeeds most of the time, things like intermittent network connectivity issues and unexpected downtime mean events might not be delivered within the 10-second window before the redirect. Luckily, Checkout provides a way for the customer to have the same great experience even if event delivery and processing are delayed. Let's look at a secondary flow for fulfillment with the success URL. In this scenario, the checkout session completed event takes longer than 10 seconds, so the fulfillment process isn't triggered before the redirect. So what can we do to make sure the customer lands on a success page that reflects their purchase if fulfillment hasn't been performed before the redirect? We can trigger fulfillment just in time, right when the redirect happens. To do this, we can add a checkout session ID placeholder to the success URL on the checkout session. Stripe will replace it with the checkout session's ID when it redirects, and the integration can then use that ID to fetch the checkout session from Stripe, confirm the payment was made, and process fulfillment. Then a success page showing the successful payment can be rendered for the customer, resulting in the same great customer experience as before. Note that in this scenario, the fulfillment process will be triggered twice. Once when the redirect happens, and again later when the webhook retries eventually succeed. Thus, it's important to make fulfillment logic safe to trigger multiple times, with more than one execution being a no-op. The fulfillment logic should start with a check to see if the checkout session has been processed or not. If it hasn't, the payment should be fulfilled, and then the checkout session should be marked as processed. The next time this logic is executed with the same checkout session, the initial check will see that the checkout session was already processed, resulting in a no-op. One other thing to note, it's important to remember the redirect to the success URL may not happen. The customer may complete checkout and then immediately close their browser or get disconnected, which means the success page may never be requested or load. Triggering fulfillment using the success URL should always be a secondary enhancement instead of being relied upon as the only means of fulfillment. Webhooks should be used as the primary approach, as Stripe's robust retries will make sure all successful payments are eventually accounted for. That's robust checkout fulfillment in a nutshell. You can learn more and build your own checkout integration at stripe.com/docs/checkout.